Just going to do a little bit of groundwork with Nero. Apologies if I can't show you a lot of but Holly's otherwise occupied with Hannes, so I don't have anyone else to video for me. So I'll try and keep as much of this in the camera as I can, but obviously my priority is to concentrate on this little guy. So I'm really pleased with that. The little bits that I've been able to show you. You know, he's learning, he's listened really well. I wanted to get him so that he would walk and trot up and down without trying to tank off with me. You know, he tried to pull away to the right a couple of times, but because I did the groundwork with him first, where I was asking him to move back, respect my space a little bit more, just turn on the circle and relax his neck down and drop his head and step through with his hind legs, you know, there's a lot more understanding and respect there. So I'm hoping that when I trot him up for Jenny, that he's going to be a little bit more sensible. What do you think, little man? Yeah? But no, he's a very quick learner. He's very sweet.
Yeah.
So here's Jenny assessing Nero's X-ray.
Yeah.
So Sam was saying, so he's injected into this lower one.
Right.
in the hope that it's going to travel up to this
This
middle one.
X-ray.
So he had that done, it's nearly 2 weeks ago now, so we had him in for a week.
Yeah.
No, right, let's just go back, thank you.
And then it's just gradually bringing him back. Is that what Sam wanted?
Yeah, and he said that he didn't think he was ever going to be 100%, and I should probably show you a video of what he looked like to start with, but then you don't really need to see that, do you?
No.
Because you're going to look at him as he is today.
As is.
But yeah, he was dropping it quite badly. But Sam seemed to think there was any issue higher up, and that it was all related to his hock.
Right, let's
So,
have
yeah.
a look at him. Let's have a little look.
Right, you're going to be polite. I'll try not to let go of him. On this one,
Yeah.
Can't hold run.
Well, I was going to video from the safe side of the gate. You know, I was afraid because
He's not
yeah.
a dangerous horse, Hole.
you know, I've heard stories that he's very, very dangerous. So, you know, Jenny, you might have to get your hat out the car. Very dangerous. Very, you know. Yeah, we've got lots of spectators today. They're everywhere.
He's doing well because this is a training exercise for him as well as
yeah.
a therapeutic one.
Yeah.
We're very narrow, aren't we?
Oh yeah,
So narrow. Oy.
there's a bit of filling out to do.
Yeah, the changes in that hock give him a very interesting gait pattern. There isn't a lot of flexion through that hock. But that's to be expected, we know about that.
Mm. That was much better than the other day.
Because I took the time
Yeah.
to do a bit of groundwork with him beforehand,
He's
whereas the other
loosened
day I was
up.
rushing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's loosened up. In front, his movement's very good in front. His shoulders are quite free.
Yeah.
Yeah, his gait pattern behind is what it is. We know that because of the changes in there. But
Yeah.
he looks comfortable to me. He just lacks that flexion.
Okay.
It's more a mechanical gait rather
Yeah,
than
which he's never going to have that flexion
he's
in
never
there.
going to have that. So, but higher up, it looks like everything's moving well enough. He just needs to build that muscle structure. He's got
Okay.
no muscle, bless him.
So, do you think, the plan with him over the winter is just to do what we did with Obi and just let him be out in the field and
Yeah.
build up his strength naturally?
Yeah, on these hills. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. That's what he needs. He just needs to build that strength. Bit of groundwork to keep him moving, keep the flexibility through his hock. That's really important. Although his
Okay.
flexion isn't, obviously it's never going to be fully there, we need to keep him as flexible as possible. So through that hock, we need to keep that moving.
Okay, so because Sam did say about the potential that if he's still not comfortable, of looking at surgery to completely fuse the hock so that there is no movement
Yeah.
to reduce the pain. But I think we're a way off having to consider that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Sam will know better than me at what point we do that. But I think we need to start putting some muscle to him to help him
Yeah.
offset. Because at the moment that joint, all the pressure's on his joints, it's on his hip, his stifle, his hock, because we've got no muscle. If we build muscle, that will help offset that strain on the joint. So hopefully, if we find we're struggling to build muscle because he's not moving and because we're not keeping him comfortable in his hock, that's when we might have to look at that.
Right. The other thing that I want to ask is a lot of people have said, we should be getting a chiropractor or an osteopath to come and see him. which is fair enough, but I've kind of looked at it as a bit of a process at the moment, that we wanted Sam to look at him first, then I wanted you to look at him from a sort of fitness muscle point of view. Do you have any particular thoughts on whether, from what you've seen, he would benefit from having a chiropractor or
it's a very difficult, it's a difficult one, because I know everybody has their own views as to who they use and what they do. For him, because we have an issue, he's not just a youngster that we're bringing into work. He has an issue that we know about. So I spend my days working alongside vets, looking at things and monitoring things. So the vet, so obviously Sam's done his part, we've injected his hock, made him more comfortable. Now we need to see how he responds to that, and to give him the best chance we need to look at his muscle system and build some muscle to him very slowly. It's very slow, there's no quick fix to this horse.
No.
I think people have the impression you get a chiropractor, osteopath, physio even, there's a quick fix. There isn't a quick fix to him. There is nothing, I agree with Sam, I don't think there's anything higher up that's a problem. He just, his back is dipped because he doesn't have muscle. What you see is just a skeleton. It's not, there isn't any, we now need to add to that. It's just the basics.
Yeah,
He's
it's
got no
interesting.
top line muscle or anything.
Because you've picked up on his back, which was one of the first things that we noticed when he came off the lorry. And of course, a lot of people have said, well, his back looks really weak, like he's been carrying loads of heavy riders. And it's not. Part of it is a confirmation fault. And now, hopefully through doing the groundwork, we can help build some muscle there. But like you say, none of it is a quick fix.
No.
And you can come in and say, we need to do X, Y, and Z, and you can do a certain amount when you're here. But if we don't do that work in between your visits, then you're just going to come back to the same problems.
Exactly. It's very slow. It's very slow, and I'm not convinced that pulling his limbs about or doing anything like that will make any difference. In fact, the way he is at the moment, because he has very little muscle, the potential to make things worse is quite significant.
I hadn't thought of it like that, because actually if you then move the structure around without the muscle there to hold it and keep it all in place, that's my little brain, it takes a while to process these things, but actually the muscles need to be there.
The muscles need to be there. You need to have that support. That's how we protect the joints. If you just have joints that are working and no muscle support, eventually you will have injury. And that's what you'll get from him. That's why it needs to be slow and gradual on the hills, so he's building that muscle in his own time himself naturally anyway, and then you're helping him with the groundwork.
Okay, cool. So for anyone watching this who is, you know, as Jenny said, you know, we're a great believer in all sorts of different systems, but at this stage we're not going to look to have a chiropractor until we've built some muscle on him.
The key for him is to keep him comfortable. So if we start trying to build that muscle and we hit an issue that he's not looking comfortable behind, or now I've seen him move, and obviously Sam the vet has seen him move, and we both agree that we don't think there's anything higher up going on.
Okay.
And in front,
That's
he
really
looks good in front. There's nothing in front that I'm particularly concerned about. But if I start helping you add some muscle and we start building that, and then he looks uncomfortable on his back end or somewhere else in his body, that's when I'll work with Sam and bring Sam back in to say, no, we've hit an issue. Let's have a look at it. It's that to-ing and fro-ing. There's no, I can't say do this for the next 3 months and he will look like this. We have to keep reviewing it
and monitoring him,
and that's where Sam comes in. So at the moment it's just the comfort of him. We can't build muscle if he's not comfortable, so we need to keep reviewing that as we go along. So the key person at the moment really is the vet and yourselves.
Well,
us first, you know. No, I'm joking.
But it is. It's the keeping him comfortable and all working as a team.
Yeah.
And I think the key opinion actually is the opinion of him, because it's all very well getting vets' opinions and physio and chiropractor, but at the end of the day, the horse will tell you if they're uncomfortable, regardless of what anyone outside of that says. But the question I had was, you know how you said he has a lack of flexion in that hock, which obviously we know and he's always going to have. What effect will that have on the rest of his body, like compensating in different areas?
Time will tell, is the honest answer.
Oh, so we don't know yet.
I don't know. He's quite young, so
Yeah.
he'll learn to adapt pretty quickly. The difference between him having this and an older horse that has had a good gait all its life and been
Yeah.
able to push behind pretty equally, and him who he will learn to deal with this, and he will adapt.
Yeah.
He will adapt, but just how he'll do that, I'm not too sure.
No.
But we'll find out as we go along. That's the brilliant thing about working with them on a regular basis. You find out how they adapt. And work with what they've got. You've very much got to work with what you've got. Each horse is individual,
Yeah.
and some things he'll find easy and some things he won't, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's his hock that's causing that. It might be another area,
another part of his body.
it might be something else. You know, he's, because of his conformation, he might well struggle with his balance a little bit. He might struggle naturally just lifting up through his tummy muscles.
It's a bit like Doutzen. You know, when you think of Doutzen and her dipped back, that's why I do everything I do with her. But it's really strengthened her back, because as a 2-year-old, I used to look at her in the field and think, oh my God, I'll never be able to get on her. I'll never be able to work her because her back was so weak. But we'll do what we can to strengthen it up, little man. Eh? Not that we want to ride you, but just for your own.
No, and that's the thing. I think we look at the view, okay, we're doing this to help you, to make you comfortable. We're not doing it at the view, right, we've got this horse now, he's only 5, we need to ride him under any circumstance possible. We will get on his back.
What you've got, I mean, he's not, we know he has an issue, and we know that because we've x-rayed him, but many horses are born with unique conformations that aren't
Just
ideal.
like people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they aren't ideal, and they actually do pretty well in their life. And we just got to work with what we've got. That's the thing. I think too often we think, right, we've got this horse, let's do this and do that, and we're so busy having these plans in our mind that if we do this for a certain period of time, we'll get this. We don't actually just look at them as individuals and go, actually, for him, this is comfortable. So we're starting from a good point, and we'll just take it as it comes, how he reacts.
Yeah.
So you've been out here, what, for about 15 minutes with him? We
Yeah.
opted for not being in the friendship barn because he doesn't understand it all yet, and he was fidgeting around a lot. So we've opted for cross tying.
He likes to fidget. He doesn't have an awful lot of patience at the moment. But this is good because he's learning. It's a learning experience. So we've had a look at him, and although he has brilliant movement in front and he's so flexible through the joints of his forelimbs, his neck muscles are very tight. So he's particularly tight up near his poll, but muscularly, not joint wise. So we've got plenty of joint movement, but the muscles are all pulling very tight. That could just be something he's developed over time, because horses, obviously, you've got a 60-40 distribution in terms of weight, so they're more on the forehand. So, and he's young, so that's obviously, that quite naturally is what we could expect. But it also could be that he's had a lot of change recently. See, he likes to move his neck and his forelimb.
Yeah, as we've seen when he tries to drag me around to the right.
So his right side is definitely the tighter side.
Okay.
So his default is to go to the right. So if he tries to walk over you, it's always to the right.
Yeah.
So we've loosened up through the base of his neck and through his poll, so through his splenius muscle at the top. So we've just done a lot of work on the muscles of his neck today.
So it's interesting that when I came out, you said to me that he's very similar to Doutzen, who Doutzen, in fact, I mentioned earlier in one of the other videos that she has a very loose nuchal ligament.
He has a very similar situation at his poll. So his nuchal ligament does flick over quite a bit when he moves his head.
And for those that don't know, the nuchal ligament is the ligament basically up behind his ears.
Up behind his ears.
Yeah.
That's where it attaches. So that does flick over quite a bit. But if you look at his natural conformation...
Let me stand with you,
it's a
sweetheart.
typical Friesian issue. Friesians and Welsh Ds tend to be the ones that have nuchal ligaments that tend to flick over a little bit more.
Okay.
And it's just because they have that naturally higher head carriage.
Yeah. So what's this that you've got on here?
So this is pulsed electromagnetic energy.
Yep.
So it's a pad with a magnetic coil running through it. So it's pulsing down where I've been working up here through his muscles are probably giving him a little bit of a headache this morning.
Oh,
So it's just
Should
working
get some
through there,
paracetamol.
pushing the blood flow through a little bit quicker. So hopefully things settle down a bit faster. That's what we're doing.
yeah. So all this fidgeting that he's doing, you know, that's normal for a youngster. And as you said to start with, you know, he's not got the most patience at the moment, which, you know, we've seen. You know, his attention span is quite short, and he's very handy with those front legs to try and let you know that he's bored now and he wants to move.
He definitely has a lot of personality.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah. But he'll be going to sleep in a minute once that really kicks in.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
So as Jenny said, he sort of settles for a couple of minutes and then he gets impatient again. And it is just being quiet and consistent with them.
Yeah,
And as
you're yawning now. You do.
Yeah.
You are getting that.
Yawning, licking, chewing. But he'll learn to enjoy these sessions.
Good boy.
We're just looking at his back again and talking about the weakness, but as Jenny said, he can.
So he can lift up. Good boy. Good boy. Really nicely, actually. He can engage his core muscles and lift through his back. It's just his natural conformation, and it looks more pronounced because we haven't got any top line muscle to cover it.
Yeah. So there are exercises that we can do to help him lift up through his core and help build those muscles up there like we do with Doutzen.
That's what we're looking to do, and hopefully he'll stop overusing his neck.
That's it. Everyone's had their Jenny session, and Jenny's off.
I'm off.
Yeah.
I'm off. Yeah, they're all very happy now, look.